evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, September 11th, and we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. But before we do the pledge, I'd like a few moments of silence. It's a very somber day today. More than almost 3,000 people lost their lives on the attack on 9/11. So if we could stand and just have a moment of silence, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The clerk, please take the roll.
Councilmember Archibald.
Here.
Councilmember Ashford. Councilmember Huron.
Here.
Councilmember Lamb.
Here.
Councilmember Mosherak. Councilmember Pemberton. Mayor Rep.
Here. You have the minutes before you from the August 14th meeting. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Support. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherak. Is there any changes to the minutes? All those in favor, please indicate aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Minutes stand as submitted. Presentations tonight. If the clerk would please read the first one.
Proclamation designating September 2023 as National Recovery Month will be presented to representatives of the Blue Water Recovery and Outreach Center.
Just like join me at the podium. Read this. Whereas behavioral health is an essential part of health and one's overall wellness, and whereas prevention of mental and substance use disorders works, treatment is effective, and people recover in our area and around the nation. And whereas preventing and overcoming mental and substance use disorders is essential to achieving healthy lifestyles, both physically and emotionally. And whereas we must encourage one another and all take part in being the solution for our community. And whereas thousands of people in St. Clair County are affected by substance use disorder. And whereas to help more people achieve and sustain long-term recovery, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, and the Port Huron City Council invite all residents of Port Huron to participate in National Recovery Month, September 2023. Now therefore I, Pauline M. Rep, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Port Huron, and on behalf of council members Archibald, Ashford, Remza, Lamb, Mosherak, and Pemberton, do hereby proclaim September 2023 to be National Recovery Month in the city of Port Huron. And it is with great honor we present this proclamation to the Blue Water Recovery and Outreach Center for the establishment of the region's only recovery community center, which provides the face and voice of recovery that helps residents of Port Huron restore their life from substance use disorder.
Sure. We are deeply honored to receive this proclamation. The true credit goes to our staff, those members that work in the industry, and those in recovery that are dedicated to changing their lives to the better. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Proclamation designating September 2023 as United Way of St. Clair County Month.
And Paul Miller is going to receive this, so I will read it and then you can say. Whereas United Way of St. Clair County partners with the community in meeting the needs of people in the city of Port Huron, and whereas United Way of St. Clair County serves the people of Port Huron through its support of 21 service organizations which seek to meet the needs of the people of our community, and whereas these organizations supported by United Way of St. Clair County directly connected Port Huron residents with 4,257 resources last year, and indirectly many more. And whereas monies contributed to United Way of St. Clair County by residents and businesses stay in St. Clair County and are expended under the direction of a board of directors made up of local volunteers. And whereas United Way of St. Clair County provides the most efficient utilization of fundraising efforts by assessing and responding to indicators of local community needs. And whereas the city of Port Huron designates the month of September as United Way of St. Clair County Month in the city of Port Huron, and whereas the Port Huron City Council urges the people and businesses of Port Huron to support the financial campaign of the United Way of St. Clair County to the fullest extent possible. Now therefore, I, Pauline M. Repp, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Port Huron, and on behalf of council members Archibald, Ashford, Haremza, Lamb, Moserack, and Pemberton, do hereby proclaim September 2023 to be United Way of St. Clair County Month in the city of Port Huron, and on behalf of the people of Port Huron, express appreciation to the many volunteers, including the Board of Directors of the United Way of St. Clair County and of the organizations it supports for their generous contributions of time and energy to these agencies, which seek to enrich the lives of the people of this great county. There you go. And I think that you'll let me take your glasses off. You're taking a picture.
Great. Thank you very much. Sure. We have an exciting campaign that we just kicked off last week, and our campaign goal was announced at the campaign kickoff. Because it is the 99th year of the United Way in St. Clair County, our campaign goal is $999,999.99. So I told them I don't think we can raise $1 million. So we don't have to. We just have to reach that goal. I think we'll exceed it. We've got a lot of momentum behind this campaign and a lot of energy, and I think it's going to be a really good campaign this year. So I can't really add much more than what's in this proclamation. You've heard it all. So Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you. Now is the time for public comment. If anyone would like to address the City Council this evening, please come forward. You have 4 minutes, and please state your name and where you live.
Julian Ruck, 1423 Pier Avenue, Polly's Place. Today marks 476 days since this mayor illegally ejected Kevin Linkey during his public comment. As all but Councilmember Haremza were there, you remember I stood up and cited the Supreme Court precedent, which the city attorney still doesn't seem to understand, that makes it illegal to do that, but it was done anyway. And then I came down and gave my 4 minutes, where I was cut short 23 seconds as well, a twofer. That was illegal. Everything since has been under the shadow of that illegal movement by this mayor. The footage from that evening is still not on the city's YouTube channel. If you go to Great Lakes Accountability, a different YouTube channel, somebody filed a FOIA and got the footage, the city's very footage, so the city has the footage. It has been willfully suppressed and the public record falsified by this mayor for 476 days. It's real easy to blame the crazy hippie gardener guy as a troublemaker when you hide footage of throwing the first punch. Nothing I have done here has been illegal. It's rude, allowed to be. We do bad things. This is the space where the public gets to come forward and say, hey, you're doing bad things. And nothing has been worse than that. And this ongoing narrative defaming me on public record is all based on a lie. An ongoing lie for 476 days. You don't like me because I hold you accountable for that. And as one of the two people who were illegally ejected, it is incumbent on me to do so. Even though it's more your jobs than mine. But I cannot let that precedent stand. This city cannot let that precedent stand. You cannot allow a future mayor to do the same things because, hey, that's what we do around here. I am not the bad guy. Today, in the past few days, I've given away probably about 100 pounds of produce to people, strangers mostly, coming to the garden. When the power went out with the windstorm, families came to me because they lost food, and they came to me. The community is thirsty for what I've been doing, and you've been painting me as the bad guy, when everyone who's been to the garden knows better. Councilmember Lamb, the last word I had from you, person to person, was in the garden when you said, as a nurse, you 100% support urban agriculture in Port Huron. That's the last I've heard from you. And I've also seen you try to claim that I'm the one that destroyed the decorum of the space. And I am not. She is. And you guys have let it continue. What more is there to say? Councilmember Haremza, you're the only link. You weren't a part of that. I would assume that you think it is not appropriate for that footage to continue to be suppressed, or for this ongoing lie about me being the bad guy.
Julian, your time is up.
Yeah, well, maybe yours is up too.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening?
Good evening, Mayor Rapp, Council. Most of our city neighborhoods are
Do you want to
dealing
give your
with
name?
the issue.
Can you give your name?
It's Julie Snyder, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
46 14th Street. Most of our city neighborhoods are dealing with the issue of belongings of an eviction, which are now considered trash, being left behind from that eviction. This has been an ongoing issue for some time, but now it's become a bigger issue due to multiple factors. One being limited to one large item per week, and the other issue is by allowing the landlords to put the items that were left out to the curb at any time, instead of on the day of their scheduled pickup. This leads to other issues like smells, trash picking, and trash being thrown all over the neighborhoods. This leaves our neighborhoods looking dirty, vulnerable, and unsafe. On August 31st, there was an eviction on our street. The items that were left behind were put on the front lawn, and they sat there for a week. It took several complaints before it was moved. What we are asking is that landlords follow the same rules about the trash. Put it out the night before. This will hopefully eliminate most of the issues that we all are having. It's sad enough that two of our neighbors in our neighborhood have been evicted, but to have to see their items that were left behind sitting on the front lawn or at the curb for 11 days, that's unacceptable, and landlords need to do better. Please, thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Farquhar, 19th Avenue. I still haven't gotten that response that we were all told at the end of the last meeting that I would get. So just as an update, the written response, I know we adopted that into the minutes today. So just as an update for everybody there. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Freed, though. The cleanup around the city from the storm is going really good. As of the last meeting, I had done a little tour around, and there was no debris left, but the sidewalks were all pitched up in some places, and they're all, at least prepped for cement to be poured in the rest of it. So as far as like accessibility and whatnot for people to walk around, I think that's great. I know the one sidewalk specifically at the corner of 11th and Richardson, there was kids at one point in time that were riding their bikes over it and using it as a ramp, and they were getting about 8 feet of air off of that thing. The sidewalk was pitched up almost as high as the podium, so it's in everybody's benefit for them to get picked up. Also, I noticed that the trash pile that I've been complaining about since before the trash contract at, I guess, the MDOT property at the end of the old Troy dry cleaner was picked up at the end of last week, which I'm thankful for, because I thought it was an eyesore every day when you turned off the highway to see a yellow drugs or trash bag and a McDonald's cup and the other black trash bag and the other pile of trash that was there. So whether the city did that or MDOT did that, you know, whoever did that, thank you, I guess. Now, leads me to my next thing about MDOT and the city needing to clean something up. I know 3 of you sitting up at the podium have to or could drive through the underpass to Riverside Boat Launch on the way home. The graffiti getting under there is getting pretty vulgar. I noticed there was one little spot that was painted over within the last couple days, whether that was somebody's parents wanting their name off of it or whether that was somebody else getting something else taken off of there. I think we need to address that because it's moving from the underpass and it's moving into the neighborhood. And the police department can attest to this. Last weekend, I believe it was Saturday morning, I could get the exact date for anybody that wants, there was a group of juveniles that were arrested. They were found under the underpass, but they were vandalizing people's properties along Riverside Drive, stealing flags out of their yards, stealing lawn ornaments. It all starts as fun and games, but then it moves to car thefts, then it moves to breaking and enterings, and then it moves to, it progresses as it goes. So let's nip it now while we can and either hold MDOT responsible for the cleanup or ourselves responsible for the cleanup. And if that means holding MDOT to put some cameras down there to, you know, catch the perpetrators, or put some cameras down there ourselves like we've done in some of the other, you know, tunnels and whatnot in the city, I think that would be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Good evening, Mayor, City Manager, City Council members. Ken Harris, 1521 Wells Street, Port Huron. I'd just like to kind of a continuation of the statement I made here about a month ago when we were having some issues and stuff. You know, when we looked back at the July 20th storm and stuff, and what has happened and things there, and I had a problem because we didn't use any of the alert systems and stuff that I thought were in hand. Unfortunately, there must have been a rat at this meeting because I got kind of chastised the next day on the phone and in an email with somebody that said that I made some inappropriate comments about people's safety and stuff like that, which I don't believe I did. But the one thing that really stands out, you know, and I got this emergency management thing. It's for the Port Huron Fire Department, and it's kind of protocol, and I think it's really interesting because my speech kind of really followed this thing the way it does, because you just look at the one paragraph here. It says the outdoor warning system consisting of 5 sirens was installed and put into service on October 2000 and provides early warning for tornadoes and dangerous storms and chemical emergencies. I think that, you know, we get these storms, you know, that one that day, if you look at it, I went back and did a little history on it. It started on the west side of the state and it continued all the way across, and it did extensive damage all the way across. Davison, it was high, football size or baseball size hail and stuff, and it just kept coming this way, and I thought we treated it lightly. So I basically say I think we got a good program, but we got to get somebody that'll enforce it. The item number 2 here basically is kind of interesting because I was approached by I thought a nice member of our community, or he has a business in our community. He makes more money than I've ever seen in my lifetime. But anyways, he has some concerns about some property that he owns, and he's being taxed for it, and basically what they are warehouses. At 163 Taylor, 165 Taylor, 167, 169, and 173 Taylor. I'll share a copy of this with you, James. And basically, he made the comment, he said, why, these are warehouses, why is he paying the new refuge fee? And I said, I'll do my best. I'm not on council anymore, but I'll do my best to answer that, and I'll give you a copy of this here when I'm done. And last but not least, you know, as a result of the storm and stuff, we had some pretty good action by the city. Some of it lagged on, and it took 4 weeks to get some of the people's brush away. But the one thing that I did notice is it's on the list of a tree that's an issue, 1721 Howard Street. It's dying. Part of the tree, every time there is a wind problem and stuff like that, part of the tree falls down, and it's the route for kids to go to schools. Well, the fact is, you know, it still remains untouched. It hasn't, none of the bad branches are taken off. The tree's not taken down. But here just a week ago, the city shows up and takes 1524 Gillette, 1526 Gillette, which had a little damage from the storm, And they spent 3 days taking those things down, and 1721 Howard Street hasn't been touched. I just don't understand the protocol and how we adjust these issues, but I would hope that the one at 1721 Howard gets some attention pretty soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening?
Kathleen McCready, 14th Street, Fort Huron. As you might have guessed, you've got some kind of angry people here tonight. And pictures were sent to the clerk today. So, anyway. Mayor, Council, and Mr. Freed, on the 11th day, at what is known by catchphrase, the 11th hour, both garbage piles that are in the subject of tonight's conversation were cleaned up. Imagine that. And we only had to look at it and smell it for 11 days. Despite phone calls, emails, etc., this is nothing more than an embarrassment and should not be tolerated. This is not a matter of a resident putting garbage out early. Both cases were evictions that knew that the property owner knew would happen and made no provision to alleviate the situation. No pride in their property, the allowance of garbage, no pride in the neighborhood or city. If we cannot maintain a clean and respectful city, then we are going to continue to struggle. And we are going to continue to be polarized, north versus south, landlord versus homeowner, and government versus citizen. The choice is up to you. Do we offer a quality community, or do we continue to make choices that favor one side or another? So, thank you.
Thank you.
Just had enough.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the?
Hello, I'm Michael Ryan Kirchner. I was here 2 months ago talking about how to acquire the city's video footage of on-duty police officers breaking into my vehicle. I was stopped on foot by police officers that following Thursday and advised to keep my mouth shut unless I want more problems. I've been pulled over about a dozen times since then. A woman whose yard I was mowing received a ticket just after I mowed it, saying her lawn was her yard was too long. My brother's now receiving service rejections from the garbage company. I'm having difficulties with red lights turning green. I've unfortunately had to blow a few red lights now after cars behind me have actually gone around me to blow them, to run them as well. I'm just, I guess here not sure as to who to contact or what steps I'm to follow to, I don't know, complain about this one. Yeah, who do I contact about these kind of problems with the city?
You would need to talk to the police chief.
The police chief?
Yes.
Yeah. Is the police is also in charge of citations regarding people's yards and things, lawns and things like that? Or is that come directly from the city?
That would be our planning department.
Planning department? Okay. Now, I believe like we discussed the month prior, in order for law enforcement to provide me with such videos, or to get such videos of law enforcement breaking into my car, as I had previously claimed, I have to petition or fill out a request form for them to supply me with this.
Correct.
All right. I don't feel they're too likely to be doing that for me anytime soon.
Sir, if you feel that if you feel that your request has been denied unfairly, you're more than welcome to appeal that to my office.
To your office? All right. Thank you very much. That's all. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? And I will declare public comment closed.
Madam Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
I just want to respond to one of the public comments made tonight about a video that is not on our YouTube website. We are not obligated to have a YouTube website. A couple of years ago, we started a website.
Okay.
Take your ball and go home.
You don't have to post it, even though you post every other meeting?
Take your ball and go home.
Yeah, whatever.
So we are not obligated to have a YouTube website. For the effort of transparency, we started a YouTube website several years ago so that we could live stream. So we live stream on Comcast, but the truth of the matter is that Comcast is a very small fragment of our market segment in Port Huron. Most people have Dish Network or another type of service, and so we figured YouTube live streaming would allow more people to have access to our videos online. It's not something we're obligated to do in the Open Meetings Act. It's just something we above and beyond did as part of a transparency effort. The video is not online because we are not going to knowingly and willingly republish defamation, because we could become liable and the taxpayers of Port Huron could be liable. You can come to public comment, say whatever you want, fine. But don't force us to republish that and accept the liability. And so if anybody wants to FOIA that video, which numerous copies are on the internet and they assume the liability of publishing it, you can come in, FOIA it, we'll give you a copy for free. It's out there, anyone can have it. As for Mr. Ruck claiming that his time was cut short, as you know, the video has been FOIA'd and viewed by many sources. He actually exceeded his time at that evening by, I believe, several seconds. I sent out the exact count. So he was never cut short. So the issue I have is this. It is unfair to malign and slander our mayor for decisions that she's not making. The mayor rep has nothing to do with that decision. The mayor and council have nothing to do with that decision. And so I think it's unfair. You all see the public comments we have here from Mr. Ruck. What you don't see is the harassing, defaming emails that are sent to the mayor and council at all hours of the night, multiple times a day. This notion that we haven't met with him or will not give him time, blatantly false. In fact, the mayor met with him, I think, more than 2 hours and 20 minutes. I timed it. I wasn't in the room just so he would have a safe space to say his piece. I believe the chief of police was there. The more we meet with him, the more we're attacked. We can't assume that liability. We support community gardens. They're all over the city. I believe 12 to 13. What we won't do is partner with someone who poses a liability to the city. And so that's all I have to say. But I just, I can't sit here and allow an honorable mayor who's served people well for 14 years to be maligned and slandered like that. So if you have a complaint, that drops on my desk.
Thank you. We'll move on. And the next item is the consent agenda. Or no? Yes, it is. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Moserak. And we'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Huron?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Moserak?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. Items on the consent agenda. We've received and filed notification from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission that an application has been received from M&S Smoke Shop LLC for a new SDM license and new Sunday sales, AM and PM, located at 1420 24th Street. Received and filed notifications that the annual conflict of interest statements have been reviewed and no discrepancies were found. Recommendation that the application of Bell River Winery LLC for a new off-premises tasting room permit to be located at 902 Military Street be approved by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. Confirmed and approved single lot special assessments for fines, assessments, and or cost of removing blight, blighting factors and or causes of blight, as well as the abatement of the nuisances. And we will go on to, from the city manager, number 1.
Accepting a single source quote from accredited security in the amount of $25,197 for the purchase of 28 new tasers for use by the police department.
Is there a motion?
Support.
Councilmember Moserak, supported by Councilmember Lamb.
Madam Mayor and Council, this has been a goal of ours to replace all these tasers for the last few years. I'd like Chief Platzer to come up and talk about the funding he went out and sought to make this a reality and a possibility for us. As you know, this is part of our de-escalation tactics and prevention of loss of life. And so it's a very important project. I'd like him to speak to it.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. So this proposal in front of you will replace 18 of our aging tasers. So 28 tasers are going to be replaced. They're currently 18 years old. and this will put us all on the same platform, so everyone will be using the same tasers. It'll increase training, that we don't have to train on 2 different tasers, equipment purchases, and more. The one thing that we were able to do is with the purchase of the 28 tasers, MMRMA will give us $500 per taser. So that'll be $14,000 that will be coming back to the city. And accredited security, when we turn in our old tasers and equipment, they're going to give us $2,175. So in front of you, we asked for $25,197 for the purchase of 28 tasers. And when we're all said and done, it'll cost the city $9,022 roughly.
Good. Any questions from anyone on council?
I just want to thank Chief Blatzer. Whenever he comes with a proposal or a need, he always does his best to find funding sources. We do appreciate that effort.
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Huron.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2.
Accepting the bid from J.F. Kavanaugh in the amount of $918,000 for the rehabilitation of raw sewage pump number 2 at the wastewater treatment plant.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosherak. And I think you have Mr. Witter coming up for this one, don't you?
I do. I received a briefing on this earlier today, but I'm going to be honest with you. I failed science in 8th grade, so a little above my pay grade here.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As the memo states, the wastewater treatment plant has 3 raw sewage pumps at the head end of the plant. There's also 2 standby natural gas generators. Based on the initial design, the 3 20 MGD pumps are there for the capacity of the plant plus redundancy. The one has not been operational. Pump number 1 and 3 were replaced back in 2010 and 2012. So it's now time to replace this one that's non-functional. We did have a mandatory pre-bid meeting. We had 2 contractors show up. Of those, 1 submitted a bid of just over $900,000. We had a line item budget of $600,000. Our consultant's estimate back in February was a little over $700,000. We asked them to review the bid, and they said in other areas and other projects of this nature, they're really seeing a decline in number of bidders and also an increase in price. So it's one of those things that we're down to 2 of the 3 main ones. Redundancy is an issue now. Back in the first part of July, when we had those 2 consecutive heavy rain days, the natural gas ones did fire on to keep up. So it's time to do it. Unfortunately, it's more than what we budgeted, but it's a key component of the wastewater plant.
And to be clear that the redundancy is part of our prerequisite for the discharge permit, correct?
Yeah, the MTDS permit requires the redundancy.
Any questions from anyone on council? Not that we totally understand what you just said, but yes.
It's easier for a tour.
But we trust that you do. So, anyways, if there's no questions, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3.
Accepting the bid from Raymond Excavating Company in the amount of $1,944,451.89 for the Court and Tunnel Street area resurfacing project.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Lamb, and I'm sure we have an explanation for this one, Tim.
Yep, Madam Mayor and Council, these are from some of the first roads that were part of the sewer separation project back in the 90s. And as our pavement prevention program, this is part of just the rehabilitation of Millville. But this will be the 2nd year in a row we've done a large swath of the south side community for rehab. So, and there's a map right now you can see there between White, Court, Union, Wall, Pine, and Howard.
How long is this going to take to do?
They get it done in typically probably a month or so.
A month or so?
But there will also be some dump out work in the sidewalks, which may take a little bit longer.
Any questions?
Madam Mayor, James, is this something on tap still for this year, or is this a spring project?
Spring project.
Spring project.
Whenever we touch a road from back in the 90s, we have to bring up the ADA accessibility standards. So sometimes the grade and the dump outs on the sidewalk have to be addressed, very similar to what we did last year.
Any other questions? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. We'll move on to resolutions, number 1.
Authorizing 24 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosrek. Is there any questions on any of the payments?
Madam Mayor, I just point out change order to 1-2 from our JCI contract, specifically to McMorran. That is such an old facility, and as we get into it, we find other problems, whether it's the heat, cracks in piping. So we did address some of those things that had to be fixed. There's no point in waiting.
Okay. Any questions on any of them? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Item 2.
Authorizing submission of the Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report for the 2022 program year to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for their review and approval regarding the use of CDBG and home funds.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Councilmember Lamb, supported by Councilmember Mosrek.
Madam Mayor and Council, you guys have had this for several days now to review. I just want to thank David and Jasmine for doing a wonderful job facilitating this program. Jasmine has done just a fantastic job in answering any questions we have and really changing the program and making it more actionable to what the needs of the community actually are. So appreciate that.
Any questions? I would agree they do a great job on these programs. We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Item 3, please.
Approving the agreement with AECom Great Lakes Incorporated for professional engineering services for the primary clarifiers equipment replacement at the wastewater treatment plant.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Lamb.
Madam Mayor and Council, this is for the design of the scope of work, including bid documents, preparation. Total cost is $141,000. It was a budgeted item.
What?
Was. Yep.
Any questions? Is this going to help with the smell?
That's another issue.
I know
but,
it is.
yeah. No, this will not.
No, I didn't think so. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Item 4.
Approving the agreement with Fishbeck Incorporated for professional engineering services for the rehabilitation of the secondary clarifiers at the wastewater treatment plant.
Is there a motion?
Support?
Councilmember Lamb, supported by Councilmember Mosrek. Do you have anything on this one?
Relatively the same scope
Same
of
thing,
work.
yeah.
Yep.
Anything, any questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes. Item 5.
Approving the amended ARPA proposal from the People's Clinic for Better Health.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Thank you. Councilmember Lamb, supported by Councilmember Mosrek and Mr. Freed. If you give an explanation of the
Yep.
change of the scope.
Yep, Madam Mayor and Council, we awarded $500,000 to the People Clinic to expand capacity and reach more residents who do not have insurance and those who are on Medicaid. Due to the talent shortage, it's been very difficult to actually spell those funds, which it's frustrating that we haven't been able to spell those funds, but we also appreciate the grantees being responsible and making sure they're spent in a meaningful way. This is actually really exciting. They're actually going to purchase essentially a mobile hospital room. It's a giant RV. I think we have a photo, maybe not, it's in your packet, of this bus, which will be an exam room and blood draw and mobile clinic that's ADA accessible. So they will actually be able to take this mobile hospital with staff into the neighborhoods and at events where people need it most. So a lot of people who can't get to the People's Clinic, or maybe transportation is a barrier to getting care, they're actually going to take this to them. So the hospital and the physicians will actually come to them. So it's pretty innovative, pretty outside the box, but I mean, I couldn't think of a more innovative way to reach people than actually coming to them. It's kind of like the old doctor at your door mindset. So for that, I am very excited. I do appreciate them staying in contact with us and letting us know they're still trying to expel the funds.
Any questions? How long do they anticipate until it's going to happen?
I was advised that they have a rig that's on the lot and ready to be delivered. So soon.
Well, that's good. Okay, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
I have to ask a question, Mr. Shouty. I know it's the People's Clinic and not Lake Huron Medical, but they are affiliated and I am on the board. Should I abstain?
Yes.
I abstain. It still passes. We'll move on to item 8.
Approving the agreement with St. Clair County for the lease of the parking lot located at the northwest corner of Quay Street and Merchant Street to provide additional parking for downtown businesses.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosrek. And did you want to say anything about this?
Yep, Madam Mayor and Council, there is a parking lot right across from our wastewater plant, right across from the yacht club actually, that the county owns but the county doesn't need. But luckily, because of our pro-growth policies and robust economic expansion, we do need it. So the county doesn't want to sell it, of course, but they're willing to lease it to us for $1. If we maintain it, restripe it, seal it, we have to fix there's a catch basin there that needs fixed, and pay for the lighting and provide liability insurance. So this will provide about 190 to 170 spots, depending on how we stripe it, to support that district with the onboarding of bootleggers, with wings, with the Wrigley Center. When Wrigley has events, it will be nice to have some additional parking, also to support the additional loft expansion and more people who are living downtown. So what we are proposing is that this will go to the DDA board next for final approval. We kind of got the cart before the horse on this one. Typically go to the DDA first and then to the council. But I brought it to the council first because the DDA meets in a week and I wanted to get it done before winter weather. We really like this parking lot online in the winter time. It'll be paid for out of the Main Street TIF, which is a TIF district around that area, and those funds are used for infrastructure to support development. Very similar to how we did the Michigan and Quay project. So I think the estimate I got, ballpark, was about 17,500 ballpark to get all the repairs done and necessary to have that parking lot online and ready for use for these to that area.
So it'll be done this fall.
It'll be done the next couple of weeks.
Any other comments? Yes.
James, thanks for doing your staff. I have reached out, but been reached out to by a couple of the restaurant owners and building owners. And they're very excited about this. It's much needed, and we can see a couple of our lots are getting overflowed. So this is a good thing. So. Yep.
Anything else? We will take a vote.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrek?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes, that concludes our agenda. I just have a question for you, Mr. Freed, on the issue brought up about the trash being put out with the landlords and that. Is there anything being done to address that?
Yes.
Short answer?
Short answer is yes. I'll send, here's the message loud and clear to landlords who don't address the trash. Moreover, landlords who decide to bring trash in to the city from their rentals outside the city. I today witnessed a landlord driving a box truck into town unloading trash at a city property. He claims it came from a different part of the city, but that story doesn't make much sense, given that the trash day is the same day in the same neighborhood. So we're onto it, and we will get the police involved, and we will prosecute those who illegally dump in this city.
Okay.
So fair warning.
Well, you shouldn't have to put up with that, so.
No, they should not.
No. Anything else to bring to the council this evening?
Mayor, I'd just like to thank Chief Platzer and Chief Kerrigan for the wonderful ceremony this morning, and to your staff for putting that together. It was very well done and very much appreciated, so thank you for that.
It was a nice ceremony, very much so. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Adjourned.